महामहिम उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय डॉक्टर इंदिरा गोस्वामी को वाग्देवी की प्रतिमा ज्ञानपीठ का प्रतीक चिन्ह प्रदान करेंगे। और पुरस्कार राशि का ड्राफ्ट आज के हमारे अत्यंत विशिष्ट अतिथि सर V.S. नायपॉल is requested kindly to drape the shawl around the shoulders of Dr. Goswami. Sir V.S. नायपॉल. And also present a citation, Sir V.S. नायपॉल. The citation to be presented.
They didn't possibly block me out.
Thank you, Mahamahim Rashtrapati ji. Thank you, Sir V.S. नायपॉल, and thanks, Srimati Indi Jain. और अब हमारा अनुरोध है डॉक्टर इंदिरा गोस्वामी से वे इस अवसर पर कुछ अपने मन की बात कहें, हमको आपको संबोधित करें। डॉक्टर इंदिरा गोस्वामी टू स्पीक टू अस। द 36th ज्ञानपीठ अवार्ड विनर डॉक्टर इंदिरा गोस्वामी।
His Excellency Vice President of India, Shri Krishan Kanji, respected Nobel Laureate Sir V.S. नायपॉल, Chairman Jnanpith Award Selection Board, Dr. L.M. Singhvi, President Bharatiya Jnanpith Srimati Indi Jain, and Director Bharatiya Jnanpith Shri Dinesh Mishra, and other members of respected members of Jnanpith. And I could see my Chief Minister of Assam also here, and Education Minister of India. I am extremely grateful to Bharatiya Jnanpith for honoring me with the most prestigious literary award of our country. The people of Assam and Northeast have hailed it as a great literary event. I come from southern bank of mighty river Brahmaputra, which has inspired the people of my native land since ancient times. Music and literature have flourished in Assam from a very early period. The Purana says, Usha, the beautiful daughter of Banasur, took the art of dance from Assam to Gujarat when she married Aniruddha, the grandson of Sri Krishna. In the river island of Umananda, or Bhasmashal, known as Peacock Island, Parvati dances with Lord Shiva eternally in the colorful surrounding of those blue hills and red river. At one time, Assam was ruled by Ahums, or San tribes from Upper Burma region. They came from Irrawaddy Valley and entered Assam through the Patkai ranges of Himalayas. They ruled the region for 600 years, enriching culture and literature. Writing of chronicles became a major literary endeavor in Assam during Ahom rule. These chronicles read like fiction. The life of Ahom rulers along with their administration surfaces in these documents with all its color and vividness. Here we even come across the life of Queen Puleswari, who was a temple dancer, Devdasi of Shiva temple, and rose to become a powerful queen of Ahom kingdom. Mahamanika, the Barahi tribal king of Tibeto-Burmese race, patronized and encouraged the Sanskrit scholar Madhav Kandali to translate Valmiki's Ramayana into Assamese, the people's language. Kandali frankly said, Doibo bani nuhi tu loki kahe katha, eteke ihare dukh naloi bakhar batha. These are my words, not of God. Their shortcomings may be condoned. The poet portrayed Rama as a human being, a very good king, and not as God. The great saint Shankardev spread the message of non-violence through his new Vaishnava religion based on Bhagavat. He tried to eliminate the caste system and open the temple doors for all the castes and creeds. My forefathers were Brahmins. Their Guru Damodar Dev was also Brahmin. But Damodar Deva took Diksha and became a disciple of Sri Shankardeva, who was a Kayastha. Shankardeva changed the entire face of Assam and enriched all the segments of Assamese literature. Assamese language did not have a smooth flow. It was wounded during British period. The American Baptist missionaries who helped to restore the Assamese language to its original elegance rightly said that as long as Brahmaputra flowing, the Assamese language would also go on flourishing. The Assamese people have lived close to nature. It may sound strange, but it is true that Assamese farmers even tame rhinos and use them for ploughing their fields. This is mentioned in the memoirs of John Rowntree, a forest officer during British rule. Assamese literature now, looking up now, Dr. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, the first Assamese Jnanpith Award winner, wrote his novel Mrityunjay. About the sacrifice, it says about the sacrifices of Assamese people for the freedom of India. I started writing from my school days. I spent most of my childhood days in the sprawling Satra, a Vaishnavite monastery of my forefathers. After many years, I wrote the novel Datar Hati Ruekho Howda, Moth-eaten Howda of a Tasker, based on the Satra, which is once a powerful and prosperous. I made the Howda a symbol of decadence of the Satra. The elephant who carried it later ran amok, killed a villager, and had to be shot dead. In this novel, I have portrayed the opium-addicted villagers and the miserable condition of Brahmin widows of the Satra. The Satra, which was gradually dying due to opium trade, was at crossroad at that time. It was a time when the disciples, sharecroppers, led by communists, began a militant struggle against their landlord. The hero of the novel dreams about reform, but fails to convince his custom-ridden society and the tenant farmers who were instigated by the insurgents. The hero was ultimately killed in the moment. In this novel, I have depicted the life of the people of the remote area of South Kamrup, who remain in a dark territory outside for a long time. Writing has sustained me and saved me from acute depression and a certain early death. My husband was killed at the worksite of Suina Bridge of Kashmir at the age of 26. With a wounded mind and unbearable depression, I landed up in Vrindavan in 1969, where I saw the miserable condition of widows. Most of those widows who had come from West Bengal and also from East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, from the places like Khulna, Rajshahi, Maimansi, they used to stay in the hovels of the ruined temples. Their greatest fear was not their death, but of the cremation part of it. Very often the dead bodies of the widows would lie in the street till some sweepers come to collect it and throw it in Jamuna. This happened 30 years ago, and it is still like that ahead. The widows used to earn their living by begging farms and by singing bhajan in bhajan ashram. I flung myself into writing rigorously to encounter acute depression. It was a miracle that I could overcome this agony by my writing. The pen became the inevitable savior for me. I have written 3 novels out of several novels about the migratory laborers of the private construction companies. Besides staying at the construction site of Senab Bridge, I stayed at the work site of Ahiran Aqueduct in Madhya Pradesh in 1974, also at the work site of Sai Aqueduct in 1983 in Uttar Pradesh. I can never write without having some personal experience or acquaintance with my protagonist. The site, the soil, and even its order arouse my imagination. To write certain pieces, I did stay for some time in the den of flesh traders and also in the slaughtered houses. In my writing, I try to be as direct as possible. I do not imitate. I learn from direct contact with people. My style is spontaneous without being conceited. I have learned a lot from people I have met. Like my experience, my style too is my own. I don't know whether it is good or bad, but I am happy to have a vast readership in Brahmaputra Valley. Some of the teachings of our saint Sankadeva are embedded in my heart. The saint was concerned not only with the human being, but also with the dumb and helpless animal. He said, the animals too have souls. In my new novel, Sin Namasta, I have raised my voice against the practice of animal sacrifice in the Kamakya temple, where blood offering is still in vogue. The response of Assamese readers has been overwhelming. Almost 75% of younger readers are against animal sacrifice. Through my writing, I try to project the facts of my native land, which have so far remained dark. The untold suffering and miseries of the people of my region are yet to find voice in literature properly. The craving of Assamese people for literature is worth mentioning. They can walk all night or swim across the river to come to Sahitya Sabhas, the great literary body peculiar to Assam. I have written some stories about the present situation of Assam. For last several years, due to insurgency, Assam soil has been smeared with blood. No writer with strong conviction and conscience can be a silent spectator during this era. I have a great desire to understand the mind of Assamese militants and write about them. I also have a dream that peace will prevail in my native land. This is the land where Lord Shiva dances his eternal dance of love and joy. I am sure that melodious sound of the flute and sound of the rhythmic dance, subdued at present by sound of gunfire, will vibrate once again in my valley of blue mountains and red rivers. Lastly, I attribute my success to Delhi University, where I worked throughout with some of the best scholars and friends who had helped me to forget my past turbulent life. With this word, I also very proud to say that in Port of Spain, I saw the house of Sar Vidya, I went there. I took some me also, and I was so proud that I took some photograph of that house. Somebody told me that he has written that novel on Mr. Biswas in that house or about that house. I don't know how much it is true, but I was very much overwhelmed, and I went to that house, and today it is like a miracle for me to find him here presenting me Jnanpith. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Indira Goswami. And now, this 36th Jnanpith Award presentation has become a special occasion for us of a special significance because of the presence of Sir V.S. Naipaul. It's time I request him kindly to share his ideas with us. Sir V.S. Naipaul.
I'm very, very moved to be here, and I'm very sorry that for my sake, tradition had to be broken, and people had to talk in English to me rather than Hindi. But there we are, what can we do? This conference has just taken place, you might have heard about it. Dr. Goswami was there, and she talked about Assam. And I've been sent 2 of her books, her autobiography and some stories. I've just managed to look at them today. I learned a lot more from listening to her acceptance speech. And I think what comes over is what perhaps people didn't talk about more precisely at the literary conference, is that each language comes with its history and its culture, and a language like Assamese comes with a lot more. It comes with the land that Dr. Goswami has described so poetically. It comes with the religion. It comes with the religious texts, and as you listen to her speech of acceptance, you would have understood she was really steeped in these texts, and that her view of the world could not be like the view of those of us who are not acquainted with these texts, have no understanding of that view of the world. It's one of the problems of India, and it's one of the problems for the judges of this award, how to take all these different languages of India, each of them with its own burden of history and culture and literature and religious appurtenances, and to judge them each time. But the effort has to be made, and I'm very glad that it is being done. You mustn't feel it is what's happening in India is true only of India. It's true also of a country like Japan. When I was there a couple of years ago, I was interested in the literature, the changeover period. After the Meiji Restoration in Japan opened itself up to the West. And I read a book by an important writer, and I couldn't see the point of the book, frankly. And I told the literary critic, whom I got to know in Japan, that I couldn't see the point. And what he said to me was, we cherish this book because it was the first book written with modern sensibility. Modern sensibility. What he meant was something that could take in the modern world. Because until that moment, there was no way of dealing with modern world. All the ideas of the Japanese language dealt with an older world. So I'm very, very sensitive to the difficulties that writers in languages like Assamese and other Indian languages have to put up with, work through. But difficulties are also to be seen as challenges. They're also to be seen as opportunities. It isn't enough just to say we don't have the vocabulary for modern sensibility. Once you have the language, you use it, you add to it, you develop it, you extend it. And I think that from what I've read of Dr. Goswami's books, I had a look at the story and I read part of her autobiography before coming here. This has been what she's been doing in Assamese.